Hi everyone! Wishing you all a wonderful day. Today we're diving into a thrilling journey through the misty hills of Dalat, where a romantic getaway turns into a terrifying mystery. What started as a peaceful trip for James and Diep quickly spirals into a desperate search when Diep suddenly disappears. Will James uncover the truth and save her in time? Stay tuned to find out. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. The soft breeze rustled through the tall pine trees as James and Diep stepped out of the taxi, breathing in the crisp, cool air of Dalat. The city, nestled in the central highlands of Vietnam, looked like something out of a dream. Its rolling hills cloaked in mist, rows of flower gardens in bloom, and tiny houses with French-inspired architecture dotted along winding streets. This was their first proper vacation in years, and both of them had promised to leave their worries behind. James reached for Diep's hand. "Smells like peace," he said, with a smile. Diep laughed, adjusting the scarf around her neck. "I told you you'd love it here. Just wait until you try the strawberry milk." They checked into a charming little homestay perched on a hillside. The owner, a friendly elderly woman named Ba Huang, welcomed them with hot artichoke tea and stories of her youth. James, despite not understanding all the Vietnamese, could tell that Diep was instantly at ease. There was something comforting about this place, the warmth of the fire, the scent of pine, and the way time seemed to slow down. That evening, they walked hand in hand around Ho Xuan Huang Lake. Lanterns shimmered on the water as couples rowed swan-shaped paddle boats. James couldn't stop staring at Diep, her eyes lit up with every new sight, her laughter echoing like music in the cool night air. "I don't want this to end," James whispered. "It won't," Diep replied. "Let's make every moment count." The next few days passed in a blur of blissful exploration. They visited the crazy house, an architectural wonder that looked like something out of a fairy tale. They climbed the steps of Lin Phuoc Pagoda with its intricate dragon mosaics. They ate warm ban trang nuong by the street, fed the deer at the zoo, and even got caught in a sudden drizzle while hiking through the pine forest. James had never seen Diep so alive. It was as if this city had unlocked something in her, some part that had long been dormant. But then the whispers began. It started innocently enough. One morning, while James was ordering coffee from a small stall near the homestay, he noticed a man across the street staring at Diep. The man was tall, dressed in black, with a sharp scar running down his cheek. When James caught his eye, the man quickly looked away and walked off. "Do you know him?" James asked as he handed Diep her drink. She glanced toward the direction the man had gone, but shook her head. "No, probably just a local." But James couldn't shake the feeling. That same man showed up again, lurking near the flower market, then later outside a restaurant they dined in. Always alone, always watching. "Maybe he's a tour guide," Diep joked, trying to lighten the mood. Still, James's instincts screamed otherwise. On the fifth day, they decided to rent a motorbike and ride up to a hidden waterfall Diep had found online. It was off the tourist path, surrounded by dense forest and only reachable via a narrow trail. The ride was bumpy and slow, but when they arrived, it was worth every second. The water crashed down into a crystal-clear pool, butterflies flitting through shafts of light. They had the place entirely to themselves. As Diep took off her shoes to dip her feet into the water, James pulled out his camera. "Stay there, I want to get a shot of you with the falls." She smiled and posed, brushing her hair back with one hand, water splashing at her ankles. Click, click, then a rustle. James turned. In the shadows of the trees, he thought he saw movement, quick and silent. He lowered the camera and scanned the area. "Did you hear that?" he asked. Diep paused. Probably a squirrel or a bird. But James felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. That night, Diep seemed quieter than usual. She kept checking her phone, frowning slightly. "Everything okay?" James asked. She hesitated. "I got a message, just a weird number, no name. It said, 'You can't hide in the mist forever.'" James's face darkened. "Let me see." But the message had already been deleted. "I thought it was a prank," she said. "Didn't want to worry you." James was now fully alert. His mind raced. Was it that man? Were they being followed? "I'll talk to Ba Huang tomorrow," he said. "Maybe install some security cams, just in case." But tomorrow would come too late, because by dawn the next day, Diep was gone. James woke up alone in the bed, sunlight filtering through the lace curtains. At first, he thought she might be in the bathroom or outside taking pictures. The early morning fog in Dalat was her favorite. But after calling her name twice with no reply, he got up and checked the room. Empty. Her scarf was still hanging on the chair. Her phone was gone, but her wallet and coat were still there. A strange chill passed through James's spine. He rushed downstairs. "Ba Huang, have you seen Diep this morning?" he asked breathlessly. The old woman looked confused. "No, Con, not since dinner last night. Is something wrong?" I think she's missing." James ran out into the streets, checking every corner near the homestay. He retraced their steps from the previous night, asked vendors, cafe owners, even the guard by the lake. But no one had seen her. It was as if she had simply vanished into the morning mist. Back in the room, something caught his eye. Under the bed, barely sticking out, was Diep's travel journal, the one she never let out of her sight. James picked it up, heart pounding. Inside, tucked between the pages, was a folded piece of paper that hadn't been there before. It read, "You should have stayed away, she's ours now." James sat frozen on the edge of the bed, the note trembling in his hand. "You should have stayed away, she's ours now." His heart thundered in his chest. This wasn't just a prank or a bad dream. Diep had been taken, and someone was sending a clear message. Panic clawed at the edges of his mind, but he forced himself to stay calm. He couldn't afford to lose control now. He immediately contacted the local police, stumbling through the language barrier with a mix of broken Vietnamese and Google Translate. Officer Min, a stern yet sympathetic young man, arrived within an hour to inspect the homestay. James showed him the note and Diep's belongings. "She didn't leave on her own," James insisted. "She wouldn't leave her journal. Someone took her." Officer Min nodded gravely. "We will open a missing persons file, but this city is quiet, safe. Kidnappings, very rare." "That's what scares me," James muttered. By midday, the police had started interviewing neighbors and scanning nearby CCTV footage, but James couldn't sit still. He retraced Diep's steps himself, visiting the market, the cafe, even the flower fields they had strolled through just the day before. No one had seen her. At the small coffee stall near the homestay, the same one where he'd first seen the man with the scar. James showed the vendor a quick sketch he had drawn from memory. "Have you seen this man?" The old vendor frowned. "He's not local, came a few times. Quiet. Watches people but never talks." James pressed on. "Do you know where he stays?" "No, sorry, maybe guest house on Fan Jin Pung Street. Lot of strangers stay there." That was enough. James took a motorbike and rode straight to the street the man had mentioned. He checked guest house after guest house, showing the sketch, asking questions. Most shook their heads. Finally, at a run-down inn with faded yellow paint and a rusted sign, the receptionist froze at the sight of the drawing. "I saw him 2 nights ago," she said cautiously. "Room 204, but he checked out yesterday." James's pulse spiked. "Did he leave anything behind?" The woman hesitated. "We haven't cleaned the room yet. You can look, but don't tell police I let you." Room 204 was cold and musty, curtains drawn tight. James searched quickly. Nothing in the closet, nothing under the bed. But in the trash can, hidden beneath crumpled napkins and wrappers, was a torn photograph. He carefully pieced it together. It was grainy but unmistakable, a shot of Diep standing beside the lake, smiling, unaware that someone had taken her picture from afar. Someone had been stalking them. Behind the photo was a receipt, handwritten in Vietnamese, with only a few legible words. James could barely read it, but one line stood out: "Tri Hoa, Jeo Pren." He grabbed his phone and searched. Tri Hoa, a remote flower farm up near the Pren Pass. They'd passed the area on their way to the waterfall. It was isolated, surrounded by dense forest, not a typical tourist spot. James didn't hesitate. He sped through the winding roads, the motorbike swerving around curves as mist curled between the trees. As he neared the location, clouds thickened and light dimmed. The deeper he went, the more the city felt like a world away. The farm was eerily quiet. Rows of wilted flowers lined the path, and a dilapidated greenhouse stood at the far end. James approached slowly, calling out, "Hello, anyone here?" No answer. He entered the greenhouse. Dust floated in the stale air. Tables were overturned, soil scattered across the ground. And then movement. James spun around just in time to see someone dash past the door. He gave chase, crashing through the foliage. The figure was fast, agile, darting through the trees like a shadow. James nearly slipped on the wet grass, but caught himself just in time. He lost the figure near an old storage shed. Cautiously he stepped forward, heart pounding. Inside it was dark, with only slivers of sunlight filtering through broken planks. Wooden crates were stacked haphazardly, and in the corner something glinted. James moved closer. A chain. His stomach dropped. There, half buried under a tarp, was Diep's bracelet, the one she wore every day. He picked it up, eyes burning with fury and fear. She had been here, not long ago. A sudden noise behind him. James turned, and a heavy blow struck the side of his head. Darkness swallowed everything. He woke up to the taste of blood in his mouth and a splitting pain behind his ear. The shed was empty now. The bracelet was gone. Staggering to his feet, James stumbled outside. His phone was missing, his backpack gone. Whoever had hit him had wanted him alive. That somehow made it worse. He limped back to the road and flagged down a passing truck. Back in Jarlat, the police were already waiting for him. Officer Min had tracked his location using traffic cameras and had grown suspicious. James told them everything. The note, The photo, the flower farm, the attack. Min's expression turned grim. "There's something you should know," he said quietly. "That man in the sketch, we believe he's connected to a group involved in illegal trafficking. They use remote areas around the Central Highlands to hide operations." James felt the world tilt. Then Diep. "We don't know yet, but we'll need your help." James nodded, jaw clenched. "Whatever it takes." He stared out the window at the fog curling over the hills, heart heavy. They thought they could take her. They were wrong. James sat alone in the small police outpost that evening, wrapped in a blanket, a cut on his brow, throbbing. But it wasn't the pain that consumed him. It was the silence, the absence. Every sound reminded him of Diep's laughter. Every breeze that rustled the pines outside whispered her name. She had believed in him, trusted him, and now she was somewhere out there, possibly afraid, possibly hurt, and he hadn't been able to stop it. His hands curled into fists. This wasn't just about finding her. This was about bringing her home and making sure no one ever did this to her or anyone again. No more waiting. No more fear. Tomorrow he would go deeper. Into the mist. Into the dark. James and Diep traveled to Dalat for a romantic vacation, enjoying misty hills, peaceful cafes, and flower fields. But their bliss is shattered when James wakes up one morning to find Diep gone without a trace, only a cryptic note left behind. "You shouldn't have come back. She belongs to us now." Desperate and terrified, James begins a frantic search through the quiet streets and foggy forests. Clues lead him to a mysterious flower farm on the outskirts of town, where he finds Diep's bracelet and is ambushed. After barely escaping, he learns from police that the man he saw may be linked to a human trafficking ring. As fear turns to fury, James vows to stop at nothing to find her. What was supposed to be a peaceful getaway becomes a fight against time and darkness.